this is not what I expected. It's not what that this was going to happen.
For over a decade, Fast and Loud wasn't just a car show, it was a symbol of hustle, grit, and the American dream on four wheels. Its frontman, Richard Rawlings, with his Texas drawl, sharp wit, and endless energy, built an empire from rusted frames and forgotten machines. He made viewers believe that with a bit of charm and a lot of grease, anyone could turn scrap into gold. But in 2025, that dream came to an abrupt and painful halt. The Gas Monkey Garage, once a roaring hub of car culture, has gone dark. The lights are off, the doors are locked, and the empire Richard spent 2 decades building has crumbled under the weight of lawsuits, financial mismanagement, and internal chaos. What began as a show about cars ended as a cautionary tale about fame, trust, and the cost of ambition. So what happened to the man who turned junk into a multi-million-dollar dream? Why did one of TV's biggest car empires crash to a halt? Stay with us as we uncover the rise and shocking downfall of Richard Rawlings, the face of Fast and Loud. Before Fast and Loud became a global hit, Richard Rawlings was just another Texas kid obsessed with cars. Born in Fort Worth in 1969, he spent his childhood attending auto shows with his dad, learning to tell the difference between chrome that shined and chrome that lied. He bought his first car, a 1972 Ford Pinto, before he was even old enough to drive, fixed it up, sold it, and pocketed his first profit. He never stopped flipping after that. College wasn't in the picture. Instead, Rawlings spent his 20s bouncing between jobs, selling printing services by day and building cars by night. He was a hustler long before cameras showed up. That spirit became the foundation of Fast and Loud, the belief that with enough grind, anyone could make something out of nothing. In 2002, he founded Gas Monkey Garage, a modest Dallas workshop where the goal was simple: find beat-up classics, rebuild them, and flip them for profit. It was risky, unpredictable work, but Rawlings had an eye for opportunity and a personality made for television. By 2012, Discovery Channel came calling. Reality TV was booming, and audiences loved stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Rawlings fit that mold perfectly. He wasn't an actor, he was a talker, a deal maker, and a dreamer who lived by his own rules. When Fast and Loud premiered, it offered something raw and relatable. The show didn't just glamorize mechanics, it captured the struggle, the long nights, the busted budgets, and the real human drama inside a garage trying to survive. Richard's charisma was undeniable, and his partnership with his right-hand man, Aaron Kaufman, became the show's backbone. Aaron, quiet but brilliant, brought technical precision to Richard's chaotic business drive. Together, they turned junkyard cars into rolling pieces of art, and turned Fast and Loud into one of Discovery's biggest hits. At its peak, the show drew millions of viewers per episode. Gas Monkey Garage became a brand. Shirts, hats, bars, even energy drinks. Richard's signature phrase, "Get you some of that," echoed from coast to coast. For a while, it all worked. The show was printing money, and the empire was expanding faster than anyone could have imagined. By the mid-2000s, Gas Monkey Garage was more than a workshop. It was an empire. Rawlings had built restaurants, music venues, and a merchandising machine that extended far beyond the TV screen. His appearances at car shows were rock star events. Fans lined up for hours for a handshake or a photo. He partnered with brands like Dodge, Miller Lite, and even collaborated with racing legends. His net worth soared past $15 million. He was living the dream: luxury cars, global fame, and a mansion to match. But beneath the surface, the cracks were already forming. The bigger the business got, the more it drifted away from the heart of what made Fast and Loud special. The cars became flashier, the deadlines tighter, and the relationships inside the garage more strained. Aaron Kaufman, the man who helped make the show authentic, left in 2016. He cited burnout and creative differences, but insiders talked about growing frustration, about how the garage had become more about television drama than craftsmanship. His departure marked the beginning of the end. After Aaron left, others followed. The atmosphere changed. What had started as a brotherhood of builders now felt like a business held together by contracts and camera crews. Richard Rawlings was always a man in motion, but fame has a way of burning the candle at both ends. As Fast and Loud climbed the charts, his personal life spiraled. His marriage to Suzanne Mergel, rekindled after a long separation, ended for good in 2019. The divorce was public and costly. Meanwhile, his business ventures stretched thin. The Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, once a popular Dallas landmark, became the center of a messy legal battle with a former partner, Daniel Flaherty. The lawsuit claimed financial misconduct and unpaid dues, and though it was eventually settled out of court, it left a scar on the brand. Then came the pandemic. Live shows stopped, bars went dark, the restaurant business collapsed almost overnight, and so did the concert venue Gas Monkey Live. What had once been a celebration of the car culture community turned into a financial drain that Rawlings couldn't stop. By 2021, the Fast and Loud series quietly ended. Discovery Channel made no major announcement, just a silent shift away from one of its most successful franchises. Fans were left wondering why. Richard moved his brand online, launching a YouTube channel and merchandise line, insisting he was taking creative control. But the truth was simpler. The network was moving on, and so were the fans. Then came 2025. What remained of Gas Monkey Garage was hit by what insiders now call the audit that ended everything. Reports surfaced that the IRS had uncovered millions in unpaid payroll taxes and financial irregularities dating back several years. It wasn't just sloppy accounting. Investigators believed that income had been funneled through multiple shell companies to hide losses and debts. Whether it was deliberate or simply mismanagement is still under review, but the fallout was instant. The government froze the company's assets. The garage was shut down. Cars were seized. Employees were let go. What had once been a symbol of blue-collar triumph was now a financial crime scene. Fans woke up to headlines claiming that the empire had fallen. The man who once turned dust into dollars was facing the kind of reckoning no one saw coming. Rawlings himself went silent for weeks. When he finally broke his silence on social media, the post was brief and somber. More than 15 years of hard work, gone overnight. I guess every empire hits a wall. This was mine. It was a stunning confession from a man who had built his life on confidence and control. In the months that followed, the fallout spread. Former employees spoke to reporters about unpaid wages and disappearing paychecks. Vendors claimed they were owed thousands. Even longtime fans, loyal to the end, began to turn, disappointed that the legend they admired had fallen so hard. Christy Brimberry, the garage's no-nonsense office manager, had long since moved on, running a consulting business far from the spotlight. Aaron Kaufman, now the proud owner of his own custom shop, avoided direct comment but hinted in interviews that success and ego don't always mix. The truth is, the Fast and Loud family had already fractured long before the final shutdown. What happened in 2025 was simply the last piece of a story that had been unraveling for years. Despite the collapse, there's no denying the impact Fast and Loud left behind. For millions of viewers, it wasn't just entertainment, it was inspiration. It showed that ordinary people with passion and persistence could create something extraordinary. Richard Rawlings brought car culture into living rooms around the world. He gave a voice to the mechanics, the dreamers, the gearheads who lived for the sound of an engine turning over. As of late 2025, Rawlings is keeping a low profile. Reports suggest he's relocated to a smaller workshop outside Dallas, focusing on smaller builds and private restorations. The flashy lifestyle, the TV cameras, the massive team, all gone. In one of his few public statements since the shutdown, he said quietly, "I started this with nothing but a wrench and a dream. Maybe that's how I'll end it too. Just me, the cars, and the road." It's a far cry from the roaring empire he once commanded, but perhaps in that simplicity, there's something honest again. Something closer to the man who once fixed a Pinto and flipped it for a few $100. While Richard did not lose everything, he had to recalibrate. The brand remained alive, but the growth curve flattened, and the risks from earlier expansion carried consequences. The reputational load, legal baggage, a shifting media ecosystem, and personal life changes all contributed to a period of reassessment. Some of his restaurant ventures shut down. Legal disputes remain. The show ended. Growth slowed. Yet Rawlings has shown signs of reinvention. He remained true to his core passion: cars, builds, restoration, and leaned into digital content, social media, events and experiences. His car collection is still active and massive, his brand still alive in merchandise, social presence, and automotive culture. He continued to open and expand venues, for example, newer car-themed restaurant/bar/experience venues, and maintained his persona of the gearhead entrepreneur. In summary, Richard Rawlings' story is one of ascension powered by obsession, hustle, and branding. Tsunami-grade success built on a real passion for cars, followed by the inevitable reckoning that comes with rapid growth, diversification, increasing risk, media shifts, and personal cost. He didn't collapse, but he lost some innocence, some momentum, and had to face the fact that building an empire is harder than starting one. Still, his engine is running. The ride isn't over. Whether you loved him for the chaos, the charisma, or the chrome, one thing's certain: Richard never quit, and neither should you. His story reminds us that even when the engines die, the drive doesn't have to. Do you think Richard Rawlings can make a full comeback? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to keep uncovering the real stories behind fame, fortune, and the fallouts that follow, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned, because there's always another story waiting beneath the spotlight.